Hi everyone, it is Sasha and Susie from Women's Fight News. Today is just a great day for women's boxing. I am feeling there's a lot going on. It's fight week with two great shows and obviously more good news with Sky Sports as well. How are you feeling about it all?
Yeah, I mean, what's not to love this week, like you just say? We've had massive disappointment.
Yeah.
The massive London all-female card being sort of postponed last month. Absolutely gutted about that for all the fighters. But now we've got the nation of it being reset and enjoying all the build-up all over again. So I'm kind of happy about that. And like you said, great week. Beside that anyway, having Raven and Amanda fighting and Terri, Hannah going at it on DAZN.
Yeah, there's so much going on. Feels like good vibes this week after a very disappointing week last week. I think it was now. Or was it last week? Yeah, 10 days ago, wasn't it? 10 days ago. Now, let's quickly talk about that actually, because obviously the Queen passed away September 8th. There was back and forth whether it would go ahead or not. I was fascinated that people thought it would go ahead, but I think you were someone who thought it would go ahead. And I always think, is it hope over logic maybe sometimes? Because I think if the event wasn't in London, there could have been, I might have been a bit more optimistic, but I think as soon as that happened, it's a strong chance it's going to be cancelled. And I think more just logistically and safety and policing and stuff like that. Something I was really shocked about was the fact that the weigh-in got pushed back.
Yeah.
No logic to me at all. Why would they not weigh in earlier? And then if it's cancelled, it's cancelled. You've weighed in at the end of the day. What was the point in starving everyone for all them extra hours?
Well, Ellie Scottney put something out on Twitter, which got me thinking, which I don't know much about actually, is that if they weigh in, they the actual promotion have to pay the fighter percentage.
Ah.
So if they weighed them in early and they got them weighed in and they didn't go ahead, they give them a load of money now as well as doing the event and giving them more money.
Right, didn't see that. That makes sense because obviously I was away on holiday and I'm thinking, just weigh them in at like 9 in the morning, let them refuel, let them just chill. And if it's cancelled, obviously it's devastating, but to starve them all. But that, yeah, 100% makes sense.
Yeah, but that's cruel in itself, isn't it? Make them starve all day to then be told, no, you're not getting money either now.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. I know Ben Shalom did come out and say that he is giving fighters in advance and things like that, which is great. You don't want people going home empty-handed and things like that, but it's an advance for the next fight. So it just means the next fight they're going home shortchanged. Like it's just very, very costly, I think, especially for the younger fighters and the B-side opponents.
Beck's been saying about that as well, yeah.
Yeah, I know she put out as well because it is expensive, isn't it? I know the camp's not as long, but you are going through another camp. There's a lot that goes into that. And it's getting sponsorship. Some fighters only have sponsorship for that time period. It's not that easy to just say, oh, can I have money for another 6 to 8 weeks or whatever? So it was devastating for all of them. But, you know, we'll move on to better things, but we will talk about that a little bit later on. Now, loads going on this weekend. Very excited. Obviously, a clash of dates between Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn.
Yeah.
I've got like mixed feelings on the clash of dates because it is great for boxing, but also it's not because it dilutes it. But it's great that we can have two fantastic cards happening. You know, the depth is there, but, you know, it's a little bit of a shame. So we'll go on to the Frank Warren card first. Because who would have thought we'd ever see one female on a Frank Warren card, let alone two? That's just blew my mind.
I was so shocked when Amanda got announced for this card.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Because, I mean, we'll go on to Amanda in a minute, but like she got a lot of, well, not her, but her team got a lot of criticism because the fight was cancelled. So that's great to see. Obviously, we've got Raven Chapman. So Raven signed by Queensbury BT Boxing, the first since Nicola Adams. She's been out once since signing with them. So she's 3-0 with 2 KOs. This is a big step up, isn't it, from her last opponent, who, by the way, obviously she destroyed in like 58 seconds or something.
Yeah, gone in 60 seconds.
Done and dusted. Jorgelina Guanini, very experienced. fought Ellie Scotney in a very close fight. This
Yeah.
is a big opponent, isn't it?
Yeah. She's not to be underestimated, Jorgelina, at all. And I
No.
feel like when we first saw her, so during lockdown when she fought Rachel Bull,
Yeah.
and didn't make weight because she had like a week's notice or something ridiculous. I felt like she wasn't at her best, but what a performance she still gave, even with a week's notice. I was pretty impressed by her then. So now I just feel like she's got a bit better and better because she's been, obviously lockdown was hard for everyone. I feel like she's getting herself into better shape for a better camp, better prep. So I do feel like she's actually got better and better.
Yeah.
Because I feel like against Ellie Scotney, she was better again, obviously, than the Bull fight. Gave Ellie a good, great fight. And I feel like then she was even better against Stevie Levy.
Yeah, 100%. I think the Rachel Bull fight was tough because, like you said, it was so last minute.
Yeah.
They couldn't train during COVID where she was living. It was even more restricted, obviously, than our country. So it was very tough. So last minute, by the time she flew over, I think people forget actually that flight alone, water retention and things like that, to strip that weight quickly is quite difficult. And obviously she got to the point where the weight changed, didn't it? I think Rachel had to move up a division. I think Jorgelina even had to cut her hair off, if you remember.
Yeah.
That's dedication, isn't it? And it was a great performance, like you say. It was tough. Yeah, she probably wasn't in the best shape of her life, but she didn't make it easy for Rachel at all, who obviously went away with the win at the end. But and the Ellie Scotney fight was very close. I definitely had Ellie winning by a round maybe, but it was super close. And she just makes life difficult, Jorgelina. I think she's very scrappy when she wants to be.
Yeah.
And quite rough on the inside. She doesn't make it easy, does she?
No, your typical sort of South American fighter. She's in their faces, not like you said, not making their lives easy at all. The only thing I would say is that she's been fighting a heavier division than she is naturally, where she was a world champion. Because it was right down, wasn't it, like Superfly world champion?
Yeah, she was like 2 divisions lower.
I do feel like she's always at a disadvantage as well, fighting these fighters. So Ellie Scotney, Raven, Stevie, they're all at higher weights. What I'd love to see is after this, her going sort of back down and sort of lower weights and seeing how that, because she's more than proved herself at that level. I'd love to see her more competitive fight at the right weight, to be honest.
Yeah, because even the Stevie fight, she was good. She got the win, but she looked a little bit slow at times. I thought she took too many shots than she needed to against Stevie. It's not what she had to do. So it'd be interesting to see what weight she could make, because I don't know whether could she get back to say like a Superfly, or is she better at like around the bantam type weight? So like you say, it would be interesting. But also when you're Jorgelina, you've got these opportunities to be on like Matchroom, BT Sport box office for this one. You'd fight up at heavyweight if you had to, wouldn't you? Just to get the opportunity, you wouldn't care.
Yeah, exactly. There's something in that, isn't there? What's it matter if you get a few losses when you're getting your name out there, you're getting the fights, you're getting money.
Yeah, 100%. I do think she's at that stage in her career. She's a former world champion. I don't know if we would see her back at world level. I don't know if we would see her have a title again. I don't think we would, but when you're fighting, the likes of someone like Raven Chapman, it's a great fight. She'll be getting paid, she'll be getting paid, I don't know how much, but better than nothing at the end of the day, isn't it? And but it'll be a good fight. I definitely have Raven winning this fight, but I actually think Raven could win by knockout.
Yeah.
But if she done that, that would be a huge statement, like huge.
Well, she's not been stopped, she?
No.
So she's the first one to stop her. So this is a tough fight. I definitely see Raven winning it, but it's how she wins it and how soon.
Yeah. Well, when I interviewed Steffi Bull a few weeks ago, I put the video out today. It's on our YouTube channel. And I'd asked, it's 8 rounds because they wouldn't commission it 10 rounds because Raven's only had 3 fights, which was fine. And then I said, do you think it would go the distance? And now Steffi hopes it does. He wants it to go the 8 rounds. Obviously, as great as like her last fight was, and it was great. And I think she gained a lot of fans from it and a lot of criticism, but that goes with it. It's great to make that statement, but obviously you need the rounds, don't you? Especially if you're going to move through the ranks as quick as Raven. So I know he would like it to go the 8th so he can gauge where she is, because he mentioned potentially fighting like a former world champion next, dependent, he was very clear on it depends how Saturday goes and how she performs and things like that. But kind of presuming that Amanda Serrano wins on Saturday, he said about Raven possibly fighting Sarah, which would be a huge fight.
Yeah.
But there's other girls as well. I mean, there's Daniela Bermudez. Now, I know she's not fought since Amanda Serrano. I actually don't know if she's retired or anything. I'm not actually too sure. But that's another fight that I'd quite like if she was still fighting.
Yeah, because she had a baby, didn't she?
Yeah. But I always wonder, like, would she come back? She was a solid world champion. She'd done very well. I know her last fight she lost to Amanda Serrano, but most do. So that's another fight. But someone else who I thought of was Lucy Wildheart.
Oh, yes.
So she's just won this weekend. She fought Eva Cantos. And she then later called out the winner of Amanda and Sarah. That's a big. I'm gonna presume Amanda wins, and we'll talk about that fight next. But that's a huge jump. Like, that is a mega jump from someone like Eva Cantos, who I've got respect for, but that's too much.
Too much of a jump, because Lucy's had quite a lot of time out as well, and I can see that she's probably just getting frustrated and wants to get up. But yeah, that's all talk, isn't it? In my opinion, really.
Yeah, it's you calling them out, so in maybe in a couple of years type thing. But if she wants a big fight, Raven's a big fight. I know, obviously, on paper, Lucy's got a lot more experience. Again, Lucy's a great fighter. It'd be down as an all-British fight. I mean, that'd be huge. But again, do them type of fights happen? I'm not sure. But I know, obviously, it all depends on what happens on Saturday with Raven. But I know Steffi genuinely believes Raven would be ready for someone like Amanda in 12 months' time. So a Lucy type of fight would be a good gauge again of where she's at. And then possibly maybe like a former world champion next. Something like that would be great to see.
And then there's some big other fights lining up in the division, like we've talked before, because obviously don't forget Claressa.
Yeah.
And we've got Sky Nicholson. So this the trouble is, I don't know how easy these fights are going to be made, because everyone's on different promotions. Some great fights down the line, definitely. Were you mentioning about the 8 rounds? So are they still allowing it to go ahead for the WBC international title with 8 rounds?
Yes. So when I spoke to Steffi, he said that they'd only commission out 8 rounds because she's had just 3 fights, but they're allowed to do it for the international title at 8 rounds. And I think it's been done a few times before. If I remember correctly, I'm sure there's been quite a few. Because you've got it, when you think about how quick some of the girls have to move up, because there's no British title and not as many opportunities domestically, they go for these European international titles, and sometimes they've only had like 6 rounders.
Yeah.
So I think we've seen it quite a lot, where it ends up being 8 rounds, which makes sense.
You're mentioning that'd be a great thing for Raven to go for, because it's still up for grabs, first ever British champion.
Well, when's that going to happen, though?
Yeah.
But right, this is a constant comment on social media. I'd like to know Raven's arm workout. So I think she's probably got the most popular arms in the whole of boxing, hasn't she? I think it's always like a talking point, I feel like, when we see, especially like in the public workouts and stuff like that, or the photo shoots they have to do. What a compliment.
Yes. Yeah.
Also, Frank Warren said Amanda in 12 months as well for Raven. What a fight. I mean, it'll be interesting. In theory, yeah, like I think 100% Raven would be ready for Amanda Serrano, no question. But it's just, where's Amanda going to be type thing, because she's just got so many options, Amanda. And we'll move on to her, because there's a couple of interesting things I think going on with the division and things like that. So we've got this fight, the unification fight. I don't even think Amanda thought she'd get this fight, because I think she's called you know, to be able to unify the division for quite a while, and it's always been quite difficult.
Yeah.
You imagine there's been a nice amount of money put forward for this, for both fighters. Obviously, you've got the Frank Warren, the BT, but obviously it's MVP as well. So it's great that this fight is happening. Are you like me? Do you see Amanda comfortably winning this one?
Yes. Yeah. Because, I mean, just looking at Sarah's record, who she's fought, she's not really been tested hugely.
Yeah.
You know, be the fact that we don't really know if she'll, you know, because she's not fought at this level, she could be amazing, which is, you know, up against someone like Amanda, but she hasn't been tested. So she hasn't got the experience like Amanda's got. So I see her winning comfortably, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's a tough ask, isn't it? And I think that's obviously why Amanda is incredibly avoided, is you've got to put her up there with the best. I always say it's Amanda, Katie, Claressa. The three of them are number one. It's just who's more active, who gets that spot, in my opinion. So she's just a hard person to beat. I think Amanda will stop her, to be fair. I don't see it going the distance.
Yeah.
But it's then what happens after this for Amanda Serrano, because on paper she's got options.
Yeah.
However, it just always seems very, very difficult. And I know boxing in general is very political and all of that. But if we look at Erica Cruz, who holds the other belt, I think it is the WBA she holds. She had her fight, I think the weekend, didn't she? Was it? Oh no, it was the beginning of the month.
Yeah.
The beginning of the month, and she won very comfortably.
Jorgelina.
Yes, that was the second time they fought, wasn't it?
Yeah.
This was, I think, a lot more convincing.
Fortunately, for Jorgelina,
it was quite a comfortable win for Erica.
Yeah.
She come out and I thought she could come out and like call for undisputed. You know, she wants to win over Amanda and Sarah. Why wouldn't you? It's a huge fight. It'll be a massive payday. And she didn't. I think she's called someone else. I think she called out a mandatory. If I'm
called out like Nina Mink, is it?
Sounds right.
Who's already been beaten by Sarah Mahfoud. I mean, fair enough. Or, you know, if you've got your mandatories, I can see that. However, that fight would obviously trump.
Well, who calls out the mandatory anyway? No, I've never known anyone. I'm sure it's a mandatory. I'm so sure it is. And I've never heard. Have you ever heard Katie Taylor call out her mandatory? I know she's got to fight them. I know she has to. I believe you should fight your mandatories. I think it's a bit of a jigsaw of mandatories and big fights and things like that. No one calls out their mandatory when you've got potentially Amanda Serrano. It'll be biggest payday. You could probably headline Madison Square Garden, and yet you're calling out your mandatory, which is not a big fight. That is just stupid. It's bizarre.
Well, Amanda's said how many times she's tried to make this fight, and it's just not happening, unfortunately.
Yeah. So I think, and any time she's mentioned it, because Amanda is very, you know, she's not someone who gets into like beef and all that rubbish on Twitter, but this is something that she does like to put her point across. And I don't blame her, because why can Erica pick and choose to that degree where you're holding back a division? But I also don't quite understand that as a professional athlete, as a world champion boxer, you don't want to have the opportunity to become undisputed.
Yeah.
I actually just don't get where that comes from. I just don't understand it.
Yeah. To even be able to, you know, share the ring with Amanda, because like you say, she's right up there, pound along with Claressa and Katie. And how many fighters said share the ring with them?
Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. And if you lost, I mean, I'm not saying she thinks she's going to lose, even though there must be some thought of that, because otherwise you'd take the fight. But the worst case scenario is you lose, but your stock rises. Look at Amanda Serrano. She lost to Katie Taylor and her stock has risen mountains. It's ridiculous. So worst case scenario, she goes in, she loses in a great fight to Amanda Serrano. You'll come again. It's not the end of the world. So I think it's very, very frustrating. So in theory, Amanda should win this and possibly get the opportunity to fight for undisputed, but I don't think that's going to happen. The Katie Taylor fight, I think it will. But again, I think that's like a jigsaw puzzle. I think Yeah, it'd definitely be next year. I can never work out whether that fight would be the Croke Park fight or not.
Oh, it'd be so good if it is. I'm still holding out hope that next summer, Croke Park.
It's just a high risk fight for your homecoming when you want it to be the fairy tale.
Yeah.
I've just got a feeling that'll be like the Chris Cyborg fight. Which, thank goodness, isn't Katie's next fight. Because I'm not overly excited. But yeah, I just don't know. I feel like the stars are going to have to align for the Katie and Amanda rematch. And I hope it's not going to be one of them situations where something happens, we see a loss from one of them and then it all like disappears, which we've seen time and time again. But even that doesn't seem as simple as it should have been, and probably we all thought it would be after their first fight.
Yeah, and what a shame if we never have that rematch, like you say.
I know. It was a big shame when I sat on booking.com and booked a hotel in Ireland for 6 weekends on the run to watch Katie Taylor Amanda Serrano. And then it didn't happen. That was a shame, if anything. Just talking about the featherweight division, someone's put Sky blasts that division. Sky Nicholson. Sky's great. I know I know this next fight in October. Is it October in Australia?
Yeah, it's the same date as the big fight. It's the 15th of October.
Oh God, yeah, I didn't put that together. Yeah, because I'm sure the Australian show was supposed to be September and it got pushed back. But I'm sure Sky, I think it was on Instagram, she hinted that she would be looking for world titles next year, but hinted that it wouldn't be featherweight.
Okay.
I kind of wish I would have screenshotted it now, but because I remember thinking, because I questioned Steffi Bull on this when we were talking about Raven, is if you're looking for a world title, your option is kind of like Amanda Serrano. That's a huge ask. So and it's like lightweight.
It's not going to be.
Say again.
It's not going to be Choi, is it?
She's not gonna fight, is she? That's ridiculous. Don't say silly comments, Susie. She's sitting there with her belt.
Out.
just looking at it, thinking, oh, look at all these people fighting. Not me.
Think about where there's belts that are likely to be, because obviously on the 15th we see the rest of the super featherweight belts up for grabs. Yeah. On the 15th. And I can't.
Choi is the option, isn't it? And I'm trying to think if Sky's featherweight. I don't know if she could move to super bantamweight. I don't know.
And then we've got an Australian clash there, then potentially, haven't we? If it was super bantamweight, because you've got Shanika Johnson, who's BF there. France, you've got Segaline.
Potentially Ellie Scotney by the end of the year.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Because it's a funny one, isn't it? Because like you say, super featherweight's becoming a bit full. Yeah. Featherweight's becoming full. So when you're these younger girls who are prospects but looking for the first title, and it's the same with lightweight. Lightweight is full. That's why you're seeing the likes of Terri Harper moving all the way up and things. So if you're featherweight, your probably ideal situation is, can you bump down a little bit to super bantam? I reckon Sky could. I reckon she could, but I don't know. But that's what she hinted at anyway. But we'll see. Obviously, she's going for Commonwealth, I think, is she, in October?
Yeah, against an Australian fighter who I think she wins comfortably against. It's another fight. It's more sort of, I feel like, more of a showcase in Australia type fight,
Yeah. I mean, I think after this fight, Sky's literally travelled all around the world now and forth. She's not got much to tick off. And Eddie Hearn said she's still got one more fight by the end of the year.
Wow.
That's a lot of fights that she's done this year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great fight.
Yeah, it is a lot. Someone's put Raven destroys Sky. I'd love to see that fight.
They've got such different styles, and this is what's interesting, is the fact that I can see Sky dominating because she just doesn't get hit, does she? She doesn't get hit. She plays that game so well. So how much power an opponent has. If she plays that game, she's not getting hit. However, Raven is the destroyer.
Yeah.
And, you get landed by her, about it. So what a great matchup that would be. Because, again, it's going to be a bit like Shields Marshall, isn't it?
Yeah, quite similar, actually, probably. And I'd love to see that fight now. I know it's never going to happen, but I would love to see it now. And then I'd love to see it in a year and a half. And then I'd love to see it towards the end of the career or whatever. But yeah, it's not just them. There's loads. You've obviously got Karis. There's actually a lot of girls in that division. But you imagine for as long as the majority of titles are going to be with Amanda, they're probably going to have to fluctuate.
Yeah.
Unless Erica does want to fight someone. I think that could be the best scenario, is that Erica is going to be brave enough to fight someone who will then, if they win, potentially fight Amanda. But yeah, that'll be interesting. But yeah, if they can move up and down, but the super featherweight division's also stacked. But you never know. Choi, she might fight. Could you imagine? A world champion fighting? That'd just be so strange.
What's all this rumours about fighting for a Weber now as well? Because there's a poster going around. I don't know if it's legitimate or if someone's taking the mickey, because people are posting it out now. But I'm thinking there's no record of it. But they're saying that she's now fighting for a Weber world title. But why would she suddenly be fighting for a Weber?
It literally wouldn't surprise me. I got really excited today because Boxer sent an email about the rescheduled, and it said, and they've done this about 3 times now, where they say undisputed super featherweight clash. And I'm like, oh, they've bought the belt. They've got it. And then they send out like an email 5 minutes later and it rectify it. I'm like, oh. And they've done that quite a lot on these emails, and you can't blame them because we all think it's an undisputed fight, isn't it? You're just missing a belt.
Yeah, you don't need the belt. You know what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah. But having said that, actually, I've just thought, let's say Michaela Mayer wins that fight, and we'll talk about that in a bit. Alicia Baumgardner will still have the IBO.
Yeah.
So does someone from featherweight move up and challenge Alicia for the IBO just to get, the clout of a world title? So that'd all probably depend, obviously, because obviously if Alicia wins, then she's got all of them, bar the Choi fight. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I think that division, along with quite a few, will be interesting from next year. And again, we'll just see more mega fights because as it's all piecing together, it's becoming great. So that's all what's going on with Frank Warren this Saturday in Manchester. I think Raven Chapman's out at 6 p.m.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, and then Amanda is co-main. So probably at 1 a.m. because Frank is awful for putting shows on and they go so late. It's well past my bedtime. But I'm just gonna I hope that doesn't clash with the Terri fight. It's all going to be very stressful on Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah. I can't usually DAZN have about around a 7 o'clock start, don't they?
Yeah.
And so hopefully, or definitely Raven would be fine. And then hopefully it won't clash the main event. Although saying that, Rhiannon Dixon will probably be on early for that DAZN show. Yeah,
I'm sure I saw something today. So she is on fairly early. So she's on before the 7 p.m. slot, if what I've read was true. But you never know, do you? It could just be someone making it up on Microsoft Word. But we do have Rhiannon Dixon fighting Edenina Kiss. I love Rhiannon. I'm really excited to watch her box. I hope she gets another fight in by the end of the year after this one. I think this is a decent opponent. I really hope people don't criticise. Edenina is 15 wins, 15 losses. 30 fight strong opponent experience. I wrote down, some of her opponents. Let me see if I can find them. She was in the ring recently with Lucy Wildheart, Helen Joseph, Michaela Mayer, Cindy Serrano, Amanda Serrano, Heather Hardy, Shannon O'Connell, plus a lot more. So,
very experienced.
Yeah, very, very. She's fought Amanda twice and she's fought Heather twice as well. Wow. Earlier on in their careers. But, when you're in the ring with girls like that, I know she's not there, obviously, her losses. But you're still racking up a lot of experience being in the ring with girls like that. So she's not your classic journey woman who just fights, maybe the one and O's type type of girls. You know, she's been fighting solid opponents, and she's also bagged herself 15 wins in her own right. So you expect Rhiannon to win. That's the plan. But I like it as an opponent. I really hope people don't criticize it. Probably will, but I like this for an opponent for Rhiannon. Definitely.
Yeah, no, I'm excited because she's explosive, Rhiannon. I'd like to, yeah, she's an exciting one to watch in the ring. You never know whether they're getting some knockdowns or knockouts. Got that.
She got 3, did she, in her last fight? 2 or 3 knockdowns.
Yeah, it was a exciting fight, actually, wasn't it?
I love that fight. I talk about it all the time. I loved it. I genuinely loved it. And I think she was a bit disappointed with her performance after. So I hope she watches it back and goes, oh, that was good. That was a good scrap.
It was just the ref that just obviously made it all a bit weird.
Yeah, that was dreadful. But no, that was a really good performance. And that's why, I mean, I've always liked Rhiannon Dixon, but I actually thought that was the fight where you think, wow, she is actually going to be really good. Because I know she's a dark horse. You know, she's in the lightweight division. It's a tough division to be noticed, I think, because we all know it as Katie Taylor. That's what that division is. This is the division where I want the British title in first.
Yeah, you could say
9 girls in it that, you know, put them in a tournament style with the winner getting the British title. But yeah, I'm excited for Rhiannon Dixon, definitely. But it's great because she's got the backing of Matchroom. She's obviously got Ant Crawler, who I love as a trainer. Love listening to him in the corner. But she's going kind of under the radar for a Matchroom fighter. She's not the one that maybe gets all of the attention. And I think that's the perfect balance this early on in your career, is that, you know, you've got the big stage, so you'll be potentially getting better sponsorships and all of that, better paid money than maybe the small hall shows. But you're still going about quiet enough to just get on with the job and learn as you go. And that's what I like about it.
Definitely. And I have to say, in terms of, she's so likable as well, her personality. Yeah. She's like one of the nicest girls, and I think that's really great as well, because I think she just comes across so likable. People are just going to back her and get behind her.
Yeah, she's really funny when you listen to her on interviews as well. Like, she's got a great sense of humor, so she's super likable, and she's very marketable. She's just really pretty as well, isn't she? And just kind of the full package of, I think, what someone like Eddie Hearn looks for, because there's no secret with some of that, especially in female sport, is that looks are very important as well. Whether that's right or wrong, that's part of the game for most fighters, not all. And it kind of is like the X Factor type vibe, isn't it? Where you've got to.
And she's also got the brain. She's a pharmacist, and she was a COVID hero working all through COVID in the NHS.
I know. Is she still a pharmacist then? She's still working? Wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's amazing what they can juggle. Like, when I speak to the fighters who work full time and train full time, I'm like, I don't know how you fit 2 full-time things in one go. Like, that shouldn't be possible. That dedication is unbelievable. Just unbelievable. So yeah, I'm a massive fan. I'm looking forward to this fight. I think it'll be a good fight. I don't know how many rounds it is. It's not on BoxRec yet. I found it on Matchroom's website. So it's not on BoxRec yet. So I'm not sure how many rounds. I believe this is on before the bell. So hopefully it doesn't clash with Raven, who's on at 6.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. And then we've got Hannah Rankin, Terri Harper, co-main in Nottingham. Actually, in my opinion, it should now be main event because they were co-main anyway. The main event is now off.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still co-main.
Yeah. Yeah, it's daft to me as well. I just think that they're, you know, what could be better in terms of British female matchup than this, you know? Yeah. It's a big fight for women's boxing in the UK, this fight. So it totally could have headlined.
And I'm a fan of Maxie Hughes, and that probably not as much Kid Galahad. He's not the most entertaining boxer to watch. And I think everyone says that's why I was even more surprised when they got the headline. But I think it'll be that case where we'll all go, well, that fight was better, so it should have headlined, but it doesn't matter. As long as they're on, it'll still be packed by the time they get there, by the time they walk out. So it is fine. I would have preferred it to headline, but maybe the next one. But really looking forward to this one. I think I think out of all of them, this is the one I'm looking forward to the most, I would say.
Yeah, for a long time, it feels like it's been like a long time coming now.
Isn't it funny? I was thinking that and I was like, it was such a shock.
Yeah.
But now it feels like I've waited ages for it. Like this has been the fight I've been waiting for 10 years for, but no one would have ever expected this fight even 6 months ago. But then when all the rumors circulated and nothing was getting announced, I think it's that anticipation that makes it feel longer, which is better because this build up. And we said the other week how great Terri's been on Twitter with her back and forth. Hannah kind of stuck to her word. I remember the last thing she kind of tweeted was to Steffi was like, right, I'm done. I'll just see you at fight week. And I feel like she's kind of stuck to that. But I'm looking forward to the press conference. I just feel like there's going to be some snarky comments because if both teams have a lot of respect for each other. So it's all just to sell the fight. Like none of it's going to be taken to heart. But I think it's going to be quite fun though. I am looking forward to it.
Yeah, I can imagine it more from the coaches. I can imagine all the Noel sitting there exchanging some comments more than the fighters themselves.
Yeah, that's what Steffi done with Joe Gallagher as well. But I think it's better for the fighters as well. Just let them concentrate on the fight. The coaches will sell the fight or, build up the hype for it and just let them go on with it. I think I'm also looking forward to the weigh-in because I'm looking forward to what Terri's going to weigh in at. I know people have said about the weight and things like that. She looks solid, doesn't she, at this weight? I understand what Noel says about, you can make weight, but can you perform at the weight? So I think that's what's interesting about this fight is there's quite a lot of questions. We don't know what Terri Harper is like at super welterweight. We have no idea.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Yeah. Because we know Terri's strong, like she's got knockouts, she's a big puncher. Doesn't necessarily move up with you though. Will her speed move up, footwork? Like there's all these questions that I'm looking forward to seeing, and then kind of with the winner comparing their performance to kind of how Tasha Jonas performed. It's all exciting. Mary Spencer.
Gosh, yes, it's such like we keep saying about this division. There's some big nights.
Mary Spencer's made it even more exciting for me.
Yeah, and with her explosive power. Yeah.
Definitely. So she's another one. So I think this is the fight I'm looking forward to because it's the most unknown.
Yeah.
Who I don't know who's going to win. I suppose I'd probably edge it to Terri. However, I wouldn't be surprised if Hannah won. It's always hard because you like both of them, don't you? So it's dead hard to.
I don't want to stay on this one, to be honest, because I like them both. Liked for a long time. Like we've always said, she's experienced, friends with everyone all over the world. Terri, I mean, she's proved what she's capable of.
Yeah.
Right. She's a world champion.
Yeah.
That fight really sold it to me. Capable of. If she hadn't have broken that hat, the momentum would have gone with her. So I feel like it's back into it. The sky's the limit as well.
Yeah. You always wonder, don't you, if she didn't get the handbrake twice, which I just think mentally more than anything, how she's kind of come over that and got the confidence back in her hands, stuff that's a long process. And you always wonder if that didn't happen, would she have possibly become undisputed as super featherweight champion? Now, I'm a big believer everything happens for a reason. And I genuinely believe Terri will be undisputed champion. I don't know what weight in, but I genuinely believe she will be undisputed. But you always wonder, don't you, them setbacks, but how it's changed, we would never have really known of Alicia Baumgardner, for instance. So it all changes. But it's between Hannah and Terri, it's a great fight. I believe if Terri wins, she does get both belts now. And I know on the latest fight poster, it did have the IBO on as well.
That's good.
But I know Steffi said it's still not signed for that, on the contract. However, it was on the poster, and I feel like Noel is someone who would stick to his words. But we'll see. But I'm really looking forward to this one. I think because there's just so many unknowns. You don't know how they're going to perform. Hannah does not want to lose these belts because I don't know if she'd get another opportunity. And like I said the other week, it's not even about this fight. It's the steps after. Like, they're making decent money for this fight. Wait till if you've got the opportunity to unify with Tasha Jonas. It's even bigger. Even bigger. And then the winner of that, it's not even going to be hard to make undisputed. This is probably one of the divisions where I think all the fighters seem keen enough to fight each other.
Yeah.
So you've got the potential of in 12 months, you could be undisputed champion if you win on Saturday night.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's huge.
Definitely.
So big fight there. Really, really looking forward to that one. I just like it when Terry's song Belter plays. Oh, no, it's not Terry's song. But anytime I hear that on the radio, all I think of is Terri Harper now.
Yeah.
I remember watching Jerry Cinnamon in Leeds Festival the other year, and he played it, and I was genuinely thinking Terri Harper will just walk on stage and I'll just do like a ring walk and walk off.
I'd never heard of him till Terri Harper.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so for me, that is her song, because I've never heard of him before.
God, you just live under a rock. You'd never watch Mean Girls till the other week. I mean,
I know, me. Yeah.
Gosh, I lose faith with you sometimes.
For real, yes. Me, I just always associate it with her because I don't know him from anything else.
I love that. And like we said at the beginning, more good news. Boxer have a new date, because I'm not going to lie, I was getting very, very nervous. So when I was on holiday, it's dead. I always find when I'm on holiday, because I don't try not go on like social media and that as much. I thought the 15th was confirmed, and I could see, and then I think it was Alicia Baumgardner's Twitter where she was like, I just want the date to be locked in. And I was like, oh, that's weird. So I put it on Twitter, and quite a few people got back with about 15,000 different reasons to why it's not the 15th of October, but none of them were true. I think some people said it was Michaela Mayer and ESPN with a clash, but I thought that was weird because the clash is a different time zone. So I didn't get that one. The Arena, but I was like, that's not true because the Arena have put it on the website. Yeah. So that wasn't true. So I couldn't quite work it out. And then it come out, obviously, it was Claressa Shields with her MMA contract where she was supposed to fight in November. That was the problem. Then I got nervous.
But thankfully, all resolved.
Yeah.
Everyone's back on the card. Everyone's fighting who they're fighting.
Yeah. It makes sense. When I found that out, I was like, oh, that's not going to happen. You could just see it going to be a disaster. But then I believe is it FPL, I think, or some PFL?
The League,
PFL. Yeah. They broadcast on ESPN, I believe. So I think I think it just worked out quite easy. I know Claressa's manager come out and said he was quite confident that it wouldn't actually be an issue. So it's not being resolved, and like you say, it's back on. And what I'm so happy for, like you've just mentioned, it's the entire card, and every single fighter is on this new one. Yeah. And that's what I was worried about. I thought, please don't have, especially, if we call them like B-side, don't take that opportunity away from them. That it's such a big platform. It would have been heartbreaking, wouldn't it, if they didn't get the opportunity again?
Yeah, I'm so big. A whole show on, like you said, but everything aligned properly. Like everything, I thought was never going to happen away. That, like you said, it was going to be the odd fighter to do it. But the fact it is how it was, I was happy for everyone.
Yeah, I thought, there'd be some obstacles. I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't know if there'd be an issue with one of the top 4 fighters, because this is tough for them now. I put something on Twitter and a couple of people disagreed, and I agree with why they disagreed, because I said I think this makes the event bigger and better, and I stand by that, because what I meant was the anticipation, the promotion side for fight fans, because how good was the build-up? Yeah. How good, until obviously what happened, it was better than I thought somehow. So that my favorite bit's the handshake between Michaela Mayer and Alicia Baumgardner, where Alicia keeps gripping on and like, she goes, oh, I'm scared. My favorite thing ever. That needs to be a meme. If it's not already, we should do that. So I mean, on that side of it, to me, I'm even more excited than I didn't think I could be. I think it was Raven's coach actually who put, like, he disagreed because the performance of the fighters is going to be massively decreased. And I agree with what he's saying on that 100%, because they've just worked in a ridiculous camp, you know, between 8 and 12 weeks, some of them, to peak on Saturday, the 10th of September.
Yeah.
That one day, and then that's gone. So I think I definitely think I think it's going to change a couple of outcomes really with this. I think we're going to have different winners on the night because of this change of date.
Yeah. Yeah, you could be
hard. You know, like
yeah.
I just think, so for instance, like Michaela Mayer, who had definitely had winning prior. Well, I didn't definitely have winning. That's just bullshit, isn't it? Changed my mind about 3,000 times. But on fight week, probably the week before fight week, I thought, right, Michaela Mayer's winning this. Then I saw Mayer on fight week, and she definitely looked like she was making weight, but it's something that doesn't look like she can comfortably make much more, I think is fair to say. I think that's a bit of a struggle. I know Alicia Baumgardner's playing on that, and obviously saying like good luck making weight again. Michaela's been her own worst enemy in that sense of she has to be open to that criticism because she's come out herself and said, this is my last year at this weight. So obviously I think naturally we're all now going to question, can she make it again? I definitely think she'll physically make weight on the scale. She's too much of a professional to miss weight. You know, I couldn't imagine her missing weight. But then is it the Terri Harper situation again? That's a bit like where my thing is. I don't know your thoughts on that.
Yeah. It's tricky. That's definitely going to play though, isn't it? She was actually showing pictures of the actual weigh-in and how she was struggling, and she was, well, not struggling, but how slimmed down looking, and in the bath and all that, wasn't she? All sort of build up.
Yeah.
So it is tough for her.
The benefit she has, though, one, she's a complete professional. I do believe she'll make weight. She's also got Coach Al, who is probably one of the cutest, but also the most experienced guy out there. And I do think, and even the prospects, I think there's a lot of questions here. And it's not even just about the fighters. I think the teams are going to come into play massively. Who's got the best team around them? Who can adapt? Who can get them on the right training schedule now to not peak too early now? You know, there's a lot that goes into this. And I think some of the girls on the card might not necessarily have the most experienced team around them at the minute. So I think a lot comes into question. I think with Michaela Mayer, I think she's going to probably find it the toughest.
Yeah.
But it's not that she can't win. I just think it makes it more interesting in the build-up now.
Do you know what, though? With you saying that, I actually think it's not going to be a problem because we saw the nutrition, the food that we're having from that week.
Looks so good.
The chefs actually came in doing it.
Yeah.
So she's got the right team for food around her, the right nutrients, the right advice around that. Like you said, she's got the right team around her. Also, extremely experienced Team USA. And how often they fight? They fought 4 weeks, every 3 weeks, whatever it was. She couldn't go fluctuating. You know, she's used to that kind of fight this day, fight again. So in some way, she's used to that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
She's struggling to make weight. Back then, how she is used to the process and she's got the right team. So
yeah. I think it'll be tough. It's not ideal, is it? It's not ideal for any of them. However, she'll 100% make weight on the scales. And I think, because she's got such a solid team around her, it looks like she's got great people around her as well. And she's so dedicated herself that, and I think her personality is good. She doesn't come across negative. I think she would have took this on the chin. I don't think others did, other fighters, but I think she would take it on the chin and just go, well, this is the situation I'm in. Yeah. And this is what we're going to do. But I definitely think it comes down to the team around you. And I actually think this is where we could see an upset. on the like undercard.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is a learning experience for them as well. You know, it's how much rest did you have when you found out, to when do you get back to training, to what intensity you train at. It's tough, very, very tough.
Yeah.
Something I found interesting, and sometimes with Peter Fury, I don't know whether he says it because he's so honest, or whether he says it because he's kind of bullshitting in a way. I don't know. But he just put out a tweet and he was criticising the weigh-in time being pushed back, which was right to do so. But he said Savannah's not eating in over, I think he said over 26 hours.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised by that, because I thought this was more Savannah's natural weight compared to like Claressa, for instance.
Yeah.
So I was quite surprised that Savannah was in, if it was true what he was saying, I was surprised that Savannah was in a situation where she couldn't eat for 26 hours prior to weigh-in.
I feel like this was a tweet because it felt like it was more like a spontaneous tweet. He was so annoyed with the situation. Thinking about how he would actually word it meant.
Because he's done that a couple of times where I think he says things and I think, oh, if you were my trainer, I'd actually go ballistic. But I don't know whether he doesn't think before he speaks, which is, you know, pretty common, whether he actually is just a very honest guy and just says it how it is, or whether he's just doing it to get a reaction maybe. But I don't know. I don't know if I would come out, or if I'd want my trainer to come out and openly admit I hadn't been able to eat in 26 hours. And I was surprised. If that's true, I'm quite surprised by that, because I know she's not going to be having like a roast dinner the night before, but I definitely thought she should be at the weight. She's at a comfortable weight category.
Yeah.
Where I wouldn't have thought that was an issue. So I found that interesting as well. I did also find Savannah's tweet interesting when the fight was cancelled. And I was meant to screenshot it because I can't remember. Basically,
I can't remember what she said.
So it's not a big deal, but I think it highlighted maybe personalities. So you had Claressa who come out and said, like, again, I can't remember word for word, obviously, but it was very much like it kind of, it is what it is. I respect the decision. And then Savannah's tweet was, when it rains, it pours, and went on. And I was like, and I found that interesting because it made me think of something else happened. Has it been a tough, because when it rains, it pours is quite a big statement. It's something that you don't control.
But there's something more going on than just that.
Yeah. Do you see what I mean? So it wasn't a case of, and you know, she did go on to say about her condolences and stuff like that. I'm not making out like she's cold-hearted, but it was that sentence that I was like, I wonder if it's been a bit of a tough Cam. You know, she's had shoulder surgery.
Yeah.
She's had other things going on. Has there been some ups and downs? And then this was like, oh my God, like, can anything more happen? So I just found that interesting, but probably reading into it.
And then talking about a trainer, and what do you think about what he said in the press conference when he basically, I thought he was joking, but when he turned around, he said, okay, well, let's just say it like it is. Everybody else in the division is rubbish, and you two are the only decent fighters. That's how, I couldn't believe he said it, to be honest. I was thinking, what a way to play your own fighter. The sport, for there to say in boxing.
That fight though is downplayed. That fight's now downplayed when he says things like that, because the fight is for undisputed. But then to the casual fan, they're like, well, if everyone else is rubbish, then that's why they've got all the belts.
Yeah, exactly. He's actually putting Savannah down.
Yeah. He said a few things now, the first press conference, when he said, well, if Savannah loses, we'll go to America. What do you mean if Savannah loses? If I was Savannah, I'd be like, squeeze me. What do you like? That's, you're not oozing confidence. That again, I think just overall very disrespectful to Savannah, to Claressa, to every girl in the division. Okay, the division isn't, say again.
The whole promotion, it was insulting.
Yeah. To everyone, really, isn't it? Because that division isn't the deepest division, but it's highly skillful. And I think this is where people get confused between the depth and the skill, the two different things. But also, the other girls aren't as good as Claressa and Savannah, but that is because Claressa and Savannah are at exceptional level.
Yeah.
That's like saying every girl in lightweight's rubbish apart from Katie Taylor. No. Take Katie out the equation. The lightweight division is high quality. It just so happens that you've got a very special talent in Katie Taylor, like Claressa Shields, like Savannah Marshall.
Yeah.
Don't downplay the other girls who have sacrificed everything, their whole lives and everything to do what they're doing, and then say they're rubbish. No. And then what does that say? But then the problem is then he's feeding to, and is he doing it to feed to Claressa? It's a stupid comment because, you know, Claressa does mention if you look at Savannah's CV, it isn't as strong as Claressa's. I don't know, it's just an odd comment, isn't it?
Yeah, because at first I thought he was joking because Claressa was making out that her opponent was much better than Savannah. His point was, well, a couple the same. So if you're saying that hers are rubbish, then it means yours are rubbish. So I felt like he was almost going on that tact and then went too far. But
that's what I mean. Does he not think before he speaks? Because that tweet to me I thought was strange, and then a lot of the comments that he's made have been, I'd just be a bit pissed off if I was Savannah, but she knows him better than anyone else, I suppose. I know they've got a great relationship and he's done a lot for her, and he is a great trainer, but some of the things he said I am pretty baffled by, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
So a strange one. But yeah, I just thought the whole mentality between them two was very different when it was cancelled. And I think Claressa's in the slightly more difficult position with flying home, flying back. I know she was keen. Obviously, she got out a couple of weeks early, didn't she?
Yeah.
Which was supposed to be the right decision to make because you can't. It's not even as, because I thought I'd just stay if I was them. But you've still got life at home as well, haven't you? It's probably not that easy to just be like, oh, I'm just going to stay.
The cost.
Obviously, it's the cost and your team and all of that. And yeah, it's just difficult. And I think for the Americans, especially, trying to work out when to come back over, that's going to be tough. So I think that's interesting. But yeah, it definitely, I now think I'm more confident now that we'll see an upset in the undercard, under Baumgardner Meyer, just because I think the up and down and, you know, the change of intensity in camp and things like that, just feel like it's going to, I just feel like, and I just think if you look at some of the B-side, they're used to fighting every couple of weeks.
True.
Them girls fight normally more at their walking weight, probably not the weight that they'd be optimum at, but they're walking weight because they go out that much. So for these girls, it's not a big deal. But for some of the other fighters, they do come down quite, you know, a good few pounds, and just all of the mental side that goes with it. So for the B-side girls, they're used to being let down, being cancelled, fighting again in a couple of weeks, like that. To them, they're not bothered, are they? So I just feel like it could be a little bit of a twist, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to it. Tickets are still available.
And
so
but for, you know, in terms of yourself, you were on holiday during the last date, whereas now,
so I remember saying, I'm going to find the clip. I don't know if it's appropriate actually, but I'm going to find the clip at least to send to you. When this fight was announced, I said, I have a funny feeling about this fight. And I initially thought it'd be called off because I thought like Savannah might get injured because she'd not long had shoulder surgery. And when the date was announced, I was initially going to cancel my holiday. And there was something telling me, I was like, no, I'll just leave it and I'll just go. And I'm not, I definitely didn't predict what happened, obviously. I just thought I thought Claressa or Savannah could get in. I thought Savannah maybe with the shoulder. And so selfishly for me, it has worked out better because I will 100% be there. And what did make me laugh, and I did set myself up for it, obviously on Twitter, we've been tweeting a lot about it. And obviously, naturally, you get a couple of people who don't agree with it or don't believe the hype. And the second I posted a picture of me in the airport, I had this like group of people who every day will tweet me criticizing the show or me or something. And they were like, I can't believe after everything you've been saying, you're not even going to be there. Well, I set myself up for that.
Yeah. But do you know what? There's not, you know, in terms of women's boxing, how hard did you work on that build up? How many hours did you spend on putting on videos? You know, so give you your dues, you might not have actually been at the fight potentially on that day, but you worked so hard on that promotion, so I think it's fair enough you have an opinion.
I needed a holiday after that, but yeah, we've done loads for that build up. We've got to do it all again.
Do you know, it's exciting though. I can't wait.
I was going to say, you know what? I'm excited. We'll do more for the build up. I think, obviously, you sorted all them fight predictions, which people loved. Again, if anyone's not seen them, sorry, they're on our YouTube now. We've got more coming up, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got some big ones actually.
Yeah.
The past opponents of the main event, you know, the two main events. So they're the ones that we want. But you know, got Baumgartner's only had one loss. So that one loss, we've got her fight prediction coming up. So let's see.
I am excited. So yeah, and I'm looking forward to the build up. I don't know what they're going to do because I don't think they're going to put them on the boat again. Because I know Ben Shalom said they've taken a massive financial hit. So I think they'll just be shoved in a room at this point, but as long as it happens. But I'm presuming we'll get the fight build up again. I know they said, yeah, I hope so, because that's the bit I'm like really excited for.
The press was just amazing.
Yeah. So I hope, we'll see all that again. I think it'll be even more intense this time. And then obviously if anyone had tickets for that September show, it gets transferred to the October show, which is good for everyone. And then there's tickets available, but there won't be many because I still stand by it. It will sell out.
And what did people say about the arena? And the top tier are going. So it is opened up and it will apparently be sold out. So the whole arena is going to be a sellout.
Yeah. I mean, when people said that on Twitter, I was like, that is just a new way of boxing because you're not going to open everything and then have like a handful of people in the top tier and then it all scatters. It makes no sense. That is how they do it for every show. Okay, yeah, I know you're going to have like AJ Usyk. Yeah, that's always going to sell out. But apart from them, literally less than a handful of fights, that is how they will always do it. The top tier is always blacked out unless it's a big show and then they open it up. The fact that it's opened up is amazing. That's more than the majority of shows that happen in this country. And I think what people have to remember is it's difficult times for everyone financially as well. So for people to commit to buying tickets, hotels in London, transport to London, yeah, we know how expensive that is. It's ridiculous. So the fact that they've opened top tier, and I hand on heart believe that'll sell out. And I've wrote down all them people who said it wouldn't, and I'm going to tweet them all. Because I'm that bitter. But yeah, so obviously you've got that going on, but really looking forward to this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll be having content on our channel, won't we, from the build up.
Yeah.
So make sure you follow us on Twitter because then we can post out where we're up to, where we are, what we're doing. Might be ringside at one of them. Might be. We'll see. Yeah, fingers crossed. Might be ringside. Tell you what, deciding what show to go to could be the hardest decision of my year. Like, that's so tough. So tough.
Yeah. Some of your favourite fighters right now.
That's what I mean. Like, yeah, that's ridiculous, actually. If they were all on the same card, what a dream come true.
Yeah.
What a dream come true, but it
no.
is what it is. Yeah. Trust Amanda. The first time she's in the UK, trust Amanda to be on the same night as Terri Harper in two different cities.
Yeah.
Like, what are the odds? My two favourite fighters.
Yeah.
Then he needs Heather Hardy next in Birmingham or somewhere. But yeah, been a pleasure as always. Obviously, follow us on Twitter, and then we've got loads of content, I reckon, coming out this week.
Yeah.
Then we can back next week to see who's won, and then we can plan for them on the promoter's behalf what their next steps are, because I've always got a plan for them.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. We were gonna have a plan for it within a few months somewhere.
Yeah, 100%. Right. See you all next week.
Enjoy the fight, everyone.